welcome to Medicine for the Soul Yoga. My name's Kat and this is part 12 of our Journey to Crow series. So building on from last week where we worked with chair pose, we're going to be working with chair pose again, but really working into the hips. So building strength and flexibility in the hips using chair pose and also entering crow pose as well. So let's get going. So we're going to start in low yogi squat today and just keeping it quite fluid. So just gently moving the body side to side, letting the knees fall out and down as you travel across, lifting the heels up as you move as well. Begin to use this time to focus on the breath, in and out through the nose. Connecting with the breath. Using the breath right down into the tummy. Good. Next time we come over to the left, we're going to hold here, keep the left heel lifted, and we're going to try and slide the right foot away from us and lift up the right toe. So we're coming into a nice side lunge. Focus on the breath. Option to stay here with the fingers, or perhaps bring the fingers slightly closer to the body to be able to lift the chest. Option to stay here, or option to maybe lift the palms. Find stillness here. We're then going to try and travel over to the right. Use the hands on the ground if you need to, but if you can, maybe experiment keeping the hips as low as possible, traveling back to center, over to the right, letting the right heel lift and the left toes lift. Sink the hips, relax into it. Keep the chest lifting up, either hands on the mat or hands by the chest. Shoulders are drawing down. Find stillness for a moment. We're really feeling it in the hips here. We'll gently travel back to the center. Hold in the center this time in this kind of high up version of low yogi squat, really working on the glutes and the legs. And as we exhale, we'll bring the fingertips down, lift the hips up, heel toe the toes in, so the feet are parallel to the short edge of the mat, and we just come into a gentle forward fold, relax the head and the neck. Shoulders are really heavy, let them roll around here in circles. As we inhale, we're going to lift up halfway, come onto the fingertips, find length in the spine. Big inhale, exhale, forward fold, release the head and the neck. This time interlacing the hands behind the back. Straighten the arms and let the hands float over the head. Release the shoulders. Big deep breath through the nose. Good, we'll bring the hands back down. We'll lift up halfway on an inhale. We're going to move the toes out to the sides again, and we're going to again find this low squat. We bring the hips forward and through to try and lift the chest up. Again, we're going to travel over to the left. Use the hands to help you. Lifting the toes of that right foot so that we're on the heel. Maybe bringing the hands up. Maybe letting the right heel slide slightly away, bringing that left heel down. But that's just an option. We'll come back via center, keep with me, and we'll go over to the right, lifting the left heel, the left toes up. Maybe we can keep the right heel on the mat. It doesn't matter if not though. Everyone will be different. Good, we'll gently come back to center, really good. Again, fold, bring the toes facing forward, come into a nice wide leg forward fold, this time holding onto the ankles, draw the chest through, release the head and the neck, feel that lovely stretch in the hamstrings. A few deep breaths here. Good, we'll bring our hands, fingertips onto the mat. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, heel toe the feet towards the hands. We'll bring the hands onto the shins and inhale, push the shins away and come up halfway, draw the shoulders away from the ears. I'm just going to spin around so that you can see what I'm doing here. We're going to begin to engage the core. Remember, core activation in our crow pose is really key. So squeeze the belly button into the spine to activate the core. We're going to bring the hands up, framing the ears. This is definitely a pose that looks easier than it is. So we're really activating the core to hold us here, using the back muscles as well. Breathing deeply through the nose. One more big inhale. And exhale, bend into the legs, really good. Come into a forward fold, interlace the hands behind the back, straighten the arms and let the hands float over towards the head. And here we want to try and lift the tailbone slightly and maybe straighten the legs. A few deep breaths again. Good. We'll gently bring the hands down. Again, inhale, flat back, come up halfway. Fingertips on the mat or fingertips on the shins. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. This time as we exhale, we're going to bend the legs facing the front of the mat, so spin around if you need to. Bring the fingertips down, spread on the mat. We're just going to step back to a downward facing dog. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Big deep breaths here. We're going to come into quite a wide leg downward facing dog. And we're going to let the toes come slightly facing out. As we exhale, we're going to bend the knees and slide our hips back. And inhale, lift the hands up. Exhale, bring the hands down, lift the hips up, and then walk the hands back to downward dog. Good. Breathing here for a moment. Fingers are spread, engaged on the mat. We'll do that again. So we're going to walk the hands back. Exhale, sink the hips down, and inhale, reach the hands up, lifting up the chest. This time we're going to stand up. Big inhale. Exhale, we're going to sit back down into our squat. Bring the hands in front of us. Hold for a moment. Then bring the hands to the mat. Good. Walk the hands forward into our wide leg downward facing dog. We'll do that again. Exhale, walk the hands back, sinking the hips, bring the hands up. Inhale, rising up, squeeze the glutes at the top. Exhale, begin to sink the hips, bring the hands in front of the face, hold for a moment, really good. And then bringing the hands down, walk the hands back, find a normal downward dog. We can bring the feet in and begin to pedal out the heels. Take a moment here to just bring yourself back to the breath. In and out through the nose. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Good. We're going to continue that movement flowing with the breath. Inhale, we're going to roll into plank. Exhale, we just push back to downward dog. Working into the shoulders. Inhale, rolling into our plank. Exhale, push back into downward dog. This time I want you to really focus on engaging the core by squeezing the belly button into the spine. But also I want you to focus on the hands here. So as we inhale and roll forward into plank, can you feel the fingers gripping the mat more now that the weight is being supported by our hands as our shoulders over the wrists? And as we push the hips back, the movement comes from the hands, so almost pushing out the hands, out of the fingertips to lift the hips back up to downward dog. We'll try that again. Inhale, rolling forward, the fingers are gripping the mat. Weight is spreading across the hand, squeezing in the glutes, squeezing in the core. Exhale, pushing on the fingertips, really good, that hand engagement back to downward facing dog. And we'll just walk the hands back, bending into the legs again, finding our nice forward fold. And this time lifting up the toes, and we're going to sink the hips. So kind of coming into another squat, but on our toes. So option again we want the chest to be lifting. So option to walk the hands back towards the body. Keep the shoulders drawing down away from the ears. Option to stay here, or option to bring the hands into the center of the chest, keep the shoulders drawing down. Can really feel it in the toes as well here. So spreading out the toes, using them to help you balance. we're going to try and stand up, staying on our toes. If your hands are on the mat, then just stand up with the arms like this, or keep the arms together in prayer. Inhale, we're going to squeeze up, keep the heels lifting. Big inhale, and we'll do that in reverse. So we're really testing our squats and our balance here, lowering all the way down, trying to keep the heels lifted if we can. Tuck the heels right up. Ooh, good. We'll do that again. Inhale, reaching up. Big inhale, reach the hands above the head. Don't worry if you wobble, just bring yourself back. And exhale, we'll lower all the way down, keep the heels lifting. Really good. So this time we're going to try it with the heels on the mat. So coming into as low squat as you can with the heels down. And this will very much depend on your flexibility in your ankles and in your legs. But we're going to come into the lowest squat that we can with the heels down. And we're going to do a few rounds of squats like this. So as we inhale, we'll rise up. Squeeze the glutes at the top. As we exhale, we'll bring the hands in front of us and come into the lowest squat that we can. Sink down. Really good. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale, sinking down. Perfect. This is really building the flexibility and strength that we need in our crow. We'll hold here. Inhale, squeeze up. Good. And exhale, gently lowering down. And again, we're going to visit that entrance from crow from standing. Bring the hands down, spread the fingers. Don't overthink it. Just glide the knees onto the outside edges of the elbows and find a bit of height. Don't worry about lifting the toes at this point. We can just maybe begin to think about coming onto our tips of our toes, big toes. Focus on the breath. In and out through the nose. Hug the elbows in. And gently we'll release. Come back to our low squat and then inhale, reach up. Good, we're going to do that again. Exhale, coming down into our squat. Hold for a moment. Fingers are spread and ready to be engaged on the mat. Remember the elbows hug in, so roll the creases of the elbows out. Inside creases of the elbows are pointing forward. So as we bend the arms, we make that shelf, we lift the heels, we lift the chest, and we're lifting up. We're pushing up with the elbows, we're pushing up with the chest, we're pushing up with the hips. Look at my big toes. I'm just resting on my big toes. Maybe you can lift one big toe up. Maybe you can tap the other. Maybe you can now begin to hover with both. Don't think about bringing the toes together just yet. Just focus on this feeling of flying on your hands. And my fingertips are constantly moving. My hands muscles are going like this all the time. They're actively engaged and actively keeping me balanced. So just playing around with that for one more time. Don't forget to breathe. Hug the elbows in. It will really help. Notice when you bring the elbows in together to center, it lifts you up. Brings up the height of your body. Good. We'll bring the hands forward. Bring the knees down wide and bring the toes together. And melt ourselves into wide leg child's pose. Feel the chest melting down. Big deep breath through the nose here. The chin can be on the mat or the forehead, whatever is more comfortable for you. Good, and we'll gently rise up. Bring the knees in, tucking the toes, finding our downward facing dog, and we'll walk the hands back. Come into a forward fold. Inhale, we'll come into chair pose. Remembering this one from last time, keep the weight back in the heels. Squeezing the core, sink the hips a tiny bit lower, coming into a low chair pose. And inhale, reaching up, really good. Exhale, draw the palms to center. And then release the hands either side of the body, palms facing forward, tuck the chin down. Just release out the neck here for a moment. If there's any tension in the neck, we could let go of. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. And gently coming back to center, rolling the shoulders. So we're just going to do one more little hip exercise standing before we come down to the mat. We're going to lift the right knee up. We're going to straighten the leg. And already we can feel it in the hips. We're keeping this right leg lifted and we're going to pulse 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold. Step that right foot down gently. Inhale, reaching up the left knee. Squeezing the core, rolling underneath the pelvis, lengthening out the left leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Stepping that left foot down. Inhale, reaching the right leg up. Holding here this time. Focus on the breath, squeezing in the core. Lift up tiny bit higher and then release. Last side, we're stepping forward each time. Inhale, lifting up the left knee, lengthening out the left leg. Focus on the breath. Tiny bit higher and then release. Really good. Coming to the front of the mat, we're going to inhale, sweep the hands up, sink the hips back to chair, and we're going to sink all the way down, as low down as we can go. If you can keep the heels on the mat, do. If you can't, we can lift the heels up slightly. We're going to try and rock back into boat pose, so it very much depends on how low you can get the hips to the ground. If you feel like it's a bit too much of a jump, we can use the hands to sort of help bring us back and bring the hips down. But if you feel you can transition from either having the toes on the mat or having the heels lifted in this toe stand, you can maybe let the knees come out slightly to the side to draw the hips down and lift up. Try that little transition again if you would like. Now you know what we're doing, so you can bring yourself up. It's just a fun little transition and it really works your core and finding that center balance point for you to not rock too far back. So try it again if you need to. Lifting up the feet, relaxing the shoulders, palms are facing up. We're breathing deeply through the nose. As we exhale, we're going to bring the chest down and lengthen the legs. And inhale, come back into our boat pose. Exhale, release down. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, release down. One more time. Inhale, squeeze up. Hold, lift the chest. Don't forget to breathe. Good. We're going to hold on to the thighs behind the legs. Make sure you've got room to roll back once. Really slowly with control. Landing in boat pose again. Find that balance point. Exhale, try again. Gently with control, we roll forward. If you find that quite easy, maybe try without the hands. So exhale, rolling back. Inhale, rolling and holding ourselves in our boat pose. Give it a little go. Muscle memory is an amazing thing. So each time you do it, your body will remember it a bit better. Good. We're going to hold our boat pose for 10 more seconds. If you're really tired, hold behind the thighs and you can also drop the feet down. 5 more seconds. Working the hips here a lot and the core, and then release. Good. Wrap the arms around the shins. Release the forehead down to the chest and just take a few deep breaths here. In and out through the nose. Gently lifting up the chin, we'll bring our forearms down onto the mat and we'll let the knees sway side to side gently. Big deep breaths through the nose. Really good. Good, and then we'll gently come back to center, slowly rolling down onto our mat and just placing the hands below the belly button. Feel the shoulders release into the mat. Take a few lovely deep breaths here, just feeling the body relax and sink into the ground. We're going to walk the feet close towards the body and let the knees fall out to the side and butterfly legs. We've worked a lot into the hips, so we want to release them. Let the knees wiggle gently up and down. And just take a few deep breaths here. And we'll gently bring the knees up. We'll flex the feet and have the soles of the feet facing up. We'll draw the arms to the inside, hold onto the outside edges of the feet and gently rock side to side. Big deep breaths through the nose. Really drawing the ankles down. Here we'll gently draw the soles of the feet together and hug the feet into the body. Let the elbows push the knees apart. We really feel that in the outside of the hips. And then we'll gently release the feet. Come into a gentle spinal twist to finish. Let both knees fall over to the left. Look over the right shoulder, palm facing up. Take a big inhale. And a big soft exhale. Gently come up to center, use the core to help you, and then bring the knees gently over to the right. Look over the left shoulder, palm facing up. Take a big inhale and a big soft exhale. Feel everything release. Gently come back up to center. We'll release one leg long and then the other. We can have both palms facing up. And just entering our Shavasana. Really feeling into the weight of the hip bones, supporting our legs. And just letting the legs feel really, really heavy, really supported in this moment. Also ensuring there's no tension in the shoulders or the face. And just feeling the gentle rise and fall of the tummy with every breath. And staying here for as long as you feel that you need for your practice today.